Django-Debug-Toolbar Not Showing Up. I looked at other questions and can't figure it out. I did the following to install Django-Debug-Toolbar. Pip install Django-Debug-Toolbar. Added to middleware classes. Added internal_IPS. Internal_IPS equals 174.121.34.187, for added debug_toolbar to installed apps. I am not getting any errors or anything, and the toolbar doesn't show up on any page, not even admin. I even added the directory of the debug_toolbar templates to my template_ders.
What is debug set to? It won't load unless it's true. If it's still not working, try adding 127.0.0.1 to internal_IPS as well. Update. This is a last-ditch effort move. You shouldn't have to do this, but it will clearly show if there's merely some configuration issue or whether there's some larger issue. Add the following to settings.py. That will effectively remove all checks by debug toolbar to determine if it should or should not load itself. It will always just load. Only leave that in for testing purposes. If you forget and launch with it, all your visitors will get to see your debug toolbar too. For explicit configuration, also see the official install docs here. Edit, the 17th of June 2015. Apparently the syntax for the nuclear option has changed. It's now in its own dictionary. Their tests use this dictionary.
If everything else is fine, it could also be that your template lacks an explicit closing tag. Note, the debug toolbar will only display itself if the MIME type of the response is either text HTML or application XHTML plus XML and contains a closing tag.
Debug toolbar wants the IP address in request.meta remote_address to be set in the internal_IPS setting. Throw in a print statement in one of your views like such. And then load that page. Make sure that IP is in your internal_IPS setting in settings.py. Normally I'd think you would be able to determine the address easily by looking at your computer's IP address. But in my case I'm running the server in a virtual box with port forwarding, and who knows what happened. Despite not seeing it anywhere in ifconfig on the VB, or my own OS, the IP that showed up in the remote_address key was what did the trick of activating the toolbar.
The current stable version 0.11.0 requires the following things to be true for the toolbar to be shown. Settings file. Debug equals true. Internal_IPS to include your browser IP address, as opposed to the server address. If browsing locally, this should be internal_IPS equals 127.0.0.1, If browsing remotely, just specify your public address. The debug_toolbar app to be installed IE installed_apps equals ... debug_toolbar, The debug toolbar middleware class to be added, i.e. middleware_classes equals debug_toolbar.middleware.debug_toolbar middleware ... It should be placed as early as possible in the list. Template files must be of type text HTML. Must have a closing tag. Static files. If you are serving static content, make sure you collect the CSS, JS, and HTML by doing. Note on upcoming versions of Django-Debug-Toolbar. Newer development versions have added defaults for settings points 2, 3, and 4, which makes life a bit simpler. However, as with any development version, it has bugs. I found that the latest version from Django resulted in an improperly configured error when running through Nginx USD. Either way, if you want to install the latest version from GitHub Run, you can also clone a specific commit by doing.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.